In my country, Australia, the idea of what is a woman has never been more confusing. It is blurred. No one seems to be able to give an answer. That is until just the other day, where the Australian courts ruled on what is a woman. And the ruling might very well shock you. Basically, a new precedent says, hey, if you say you are something, then you are that. And it's got the entire world talking. This story is absolutely everywhere. Here's this from the BBC. Australian court rules in landmark case that asked, what is a woman? Now, I've just got to put this out there. This video talks about trans people and identifying as different genders. And I think genuinely, it's not just me saying this to cover my own ass, I genuinely think that if someone identifies as something and it's easy for you to just go, hey, that's great, wonderful, good on you, and it makes them happy, awesome, cool, wonderful. Who cares, right? If it doesn't affect anybody else, who cares? Let's try and be polite and nice and lovely. But sometimes it does infringe on the rights of others, and that's what this entire story today is about. If you're unfamiliar with this entire tale, this lady, Sal, she made an app called Giggle for Girls. It was an app where women could get together and talk about women things like vaginas and bleeding and shit. Sounds like a lovely time. Anyway, this lady as well, Roxy Tickle, decided to join the app. Now, apparently this app had AI software that went through and removed dudes who tried to join it, and apparently Roxanne Tickle was removed because Roxanne was born a man.
My name is Roxy Tickle. I'm a trans woman from Lismore, New South Wales. I started transitioning about 4 or 5 years ago. I started gender-affirming hormones about 6 to 9 months after I started transitioning. I am a woman. End of story.
And that's where this story turns into a discrimination lawsuit. Roxanne sues Sal because she should be able to join because she is a woman and was always a woman and was born a woman even though was born a man. A transgender woman from Australia has won a discrimination case against a woman-only social media app after she was denied access on the basis of being male. Now, I covered this story not too long ago when I actually spoke to the CEO of Giggle, Sal Grover, and I couldn't believe that this was actually a thing. I couldn't believe that this was a case before the courts. But as we know with my own court case over a joke that one person was offended by, anything can go to court. But I think with this, the whole question is, and the crux of the whole argument is, should people who were born female, biological women, vaginas and XY chromosomes, should they have a place where they are away from men? Should they be able to have that place by themselves for women, by women, women? Or should that not be the case, and if I put my hand up and say that I identify as a woman, should I be allowed to go in there too? That's what this whole thing's about. And weighing in on this conversation is Amnesty International. Good news, trans woman wins discrimination case. And they used a photo of a lady who's definitely not Roxanne Tickle to really cement the point. Roxanne Tickle has won her discrimination case against social media app Giggle for Girls, which blocked her from joining on the basis of being male. She's not male. She was born a woman. She's always been a woman. This is a step forward in ensuring transgender women are not discriminated against on the basis of their gender identity. So, let's have a look at the media coverage of this case. Will it be skewed? Will it be fair? Let's find out.
Roxy Tickle was born a man, but now identifies as a woman.
Identifying is such a strange concept, don't you think? Like, I think it's wonderful in a way. You feel close to something. You feel like you belong to something. That's great. But it doesn't mean that it's necessarily true, does it? I'll say this again. If it doesn't affect anyone, great. But if it inhibits other people's own rights, then it's not that great.
But when Roxy joined the female-only app, Giggle for Girls, she got barred. It raised the question, what's it mean to be female?
Well, it means that when you were born, the doctor looked at you and went, yep, they got the right parts, they're a female. And then next to you, the other baby, oh, it's got a dick and balls, that's a boy. Some people are intertwined and there's dick and balls and vages and buttholes, but that's not everybody. That's very rare, in fact. And I think that maybe we should just, as a society, take a step back and think to ourselves, maybe this whole thing of confusing genders is not that great. Although I do think it's important to be polite. So I'm sort of at a crossroads too. And if you want to change your gender as you get older, become an adult, then that's fine. But you know that you're not that thing. You are a trans female or a trans male. And that word at the start, trans, that is so important. I think most trans people go, yeah, of course I know I'm a trans female or a trans male. I know I wasn't born like this. Most people know that and they're very, very aware of that and they're fine with it. You can live a happy life like that. I just don't know if the laws that are written in our countries should be dictated by those who genuinely believe that they've always been that other thing because they feel more comfortable living like that. And I don't think that you shouldn't live like that at all, not even slightly. If you're trans, good on you. Like the trans people that watch this channel, they know what I'm saying. They know that they should be living their life happy as whatever, Larry or fucking Sally. But as soon as you start infringing on other people's rights, that is where the problem is. That's all I'm saying. Fucking chill out. Everyone just calm down. That's all I'm saying.
Roxy Tickle, how are you? How are you feeling today?
A little focused.
Oh, actually, that's awkward. That's actually comedian and Black Book star Bill Bailey, not Roxanne Tickle. Awkward.
Today's ruling in the landmark case between transgender woman Roxy Tickle and Giggle for Girls app owner Sal Grover means we now live in a different Australia.
So what the judge found is that there's 30 years of legal precedent, legal cases which have found that woman includes trans women.
I guess this is the problem with politeness, right? When someone says that they're a woman or that says that they're a man, and you listen to them and you say, yes, you are, which I would do. I try and be nice. Then how can you then say, well, no, you can't go into that space because that's for biological women? It's like a juggling act. Some things are okay, but other things aren't okay. So this is where the politeness becomes an issue. And then now do we go, okay, well, we need a hard and fast answer. Well, that's not really being nice to people and people might struggle, but what do? Whose rights are more important? Women having women-only spaces or trans people living their life? Because this doesn't just come down to apps or social media sites, it comes down to change rooms. If you have a daughter and she went to a change room at a swimming pool, would you feel comfortable with a trans woman changing next to her? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. That's the question you've got to ask yourself. But it doesn't stop there. Change rooms, dressing rooms, prisons, jails, domestic violence centres. These are all things that women have their own version of, or their own divided version of. So should trans women, people who are born male, who have a penis, possibly, should they be able to go to those places? There's the question. And I don't think it's possible, or maybe it's not possible, to be nice and polite, but also have a clear-cut answer.
And Women's Forum Australia CEO Rachel Wong.
In practical terms, any man who feels like a woman, says he's a woman, identifies as a woman, can access female-only spaces like bathrooms, changing rooms.
And if you're a woman, that may not make you feel safe. And that's okay. If someone identifies as a toddler, do we all feel comfortable with them going to preschool for the day? Do we? It's a feeling.
Till now, the argument, what is a woman, has been stuck in a social grey area.
Which is hilarious.
A federal court judge put it in black and white. His Honour found Tickle had been indirectly discriminated against when Tickle was kicked off Grover's Women's Only Help app.
What a strange choice of words. Indirectly discriminated against. If I identify as a woman and I don't get into ladies' free night at a fucking nightclub, is that indirect discrimination? Because I'm thinking that's probably a fucking good idea. I'm going to save $10 entry. How good?
I brought my case to show trans people that you can be brave and that you can stand up for yourself.
And no hate here to Roxy at all. Like, you should be brave and the life you're living must be difficult. But is that really what this is? Is it? Like, couldn't you just go, oh, okay, I was born a man, they don't want me, whatever, who gives a shit, I'll just go do something else. And she mentions bravery. Well, during this whole time where Sal Grover is going to court and dealing with the press and getting hate from everyone. She's pregnant. I think she's got like a 2-year-old daughter now. When this all first started, she was pregnant and then had a tiny baby. I guess bravery is relative.
But a small group of people have taken it upon themselves to declare that I am not who I know I am, and they've set about making my life miserable.
Yeah, your life shouldn't be miserable. It shouldn't. It really shouldn't. But also, and I mean this in the nicest way, just because we say something doesn't make it so. And people should be nice to you. And in a perfect world, maybe they would. But this isn't a perfect world. And the reality for you, Roxy, and people like you, is you need to not try and find happiness in the outside world. That needs to come from within. That's the only place you'll ever be truly happy. If you try and rely on everyone else to make you happy, it just will never, ever occur.
I know that I can now get on with the rest of my life, have coffee down the road with my friends, play hockey with my hockey team, and now put all of this horribleness behind me.
I mean, you could have done that anyway, rather than just dragging this through the courts. Anyway, let's have a look at what Sal Grover has to say about all of this.
I will say, in my view, I've not been found guilty of indirect discrimination against a woman because the whole crux of the case was that I don't acknowledge that this male person, adult human male, is a woman.
What a bigot! I will not allow bigots on my YouTube channel. Bigotry is not allowed. Sal, disgusting, disgraceful, horrific. How dare she say things that may or may not be factual?
Why did the app kick Roxy Tickle out in the first place?
I, at some point, would have seen a picture of a male and gone, that's a male. That's all.
And here we are today.
And here we are today.
In a world where everyone is so terrified to speak things they know to be truthful or factual. For many, they have their opinions that they actually feel at home and they don't take them out into the world. And for every thought you have to be so public anyway, for someone to stand up and say, no, this is what I know to be true, I'm going to stand up for it. And for most people at home to go, yep, you're right, but also be terrified to say that. Man, Sal Grover should identify as a fucking man because she's got big, honky, stinking balls on her.
Tickle sued for direct and indirect discrimination, seeking $200,000 in damages.
Sorry, what was damaged? You were kicked off an app. That's all that happened. Why are you suing for damages?
The judge only favoured indirect discrimination and ordered Grover to pay Tickle $10,000 plus costs. What's this cost you?
By the end, we will have spent potentially around $1.2 million establishing that men are not women.
Fuck me. This is 2024 and it's only gonna get more and more insane. People, you look back at 2016 even, and you talk about the identity politics that was happening then. And now look what's happening now. It's just gonna get more full on. I don't even know what to say to all of this. This is absolutely crazy. I mean, I hope she appeals. I hope she appeals to the High Court of Australia, because this is a strange law to have. It's like you are a woman if you say you are. That's a strange thing to have written down as law. And $1.2 million in costs. Court is so expensive, and she took this fight. Crazy.
And I'll pull you up there because you keep referencing to Roxy Tickle as he. Yet a judge has found today that Roxy Tickle is a woman.
Yeah, I mean, law is supposed to reflect reality.
I have nothing to say to that bigotry right there. Nothing.
The judge has given you an option to walk away from this, for 10 grand plus a cap on certain costs. Will you walk away?
It's always been my intention to appeal to the highest place that I can, which in Australia would be the High Court.
And ladies and gentlemen, go and follow Sal Grover on Twitter. She updates this case all the time, and she needs support. If you agree with her, go and support her.
I have a daughter. She's 2. I cannot send her out into the world where she has no rights. There is a next generation of little girls that we have to protect and make sure we hand them a world that the women before us gave us.
Again, and I truly mean this, I really do. I hope Roxy has a good, happy life. I also hope that Sal does too, and they can put all this shit behind them when they sort it out. But no one's rights should infringe on someone else's. And I think this is what we're trying to work out here. Whose rights matter more? Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Be a good motherfucker, peace in the Middle East, be dick stinks. And I'm on tour right now across Australia. Come and see me live. Toodaloo, au revoir, bye-bye.